Right. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to Tuesday Talks at 3. This is a season of menopause, and today we are all about mental health. And I've got Victoria Joseph right there on my
Hi.
screen. Hello. Hi, Victoria.
Hello, Lucy.
Welcome to Tuesday Talks at 3. This is a platform where women help build one another on this journey of life. We look at the sphere of life, we look at the wheel of life. My name is Lucy Macridis, and I am the owner of LMC Consultancy. I am an expert in helping women get unstuck and onto their true potential through unlocking their limiting beliefs. You heard that right. Unlocking the limiting beliefs. I'm a certified life coach, I'm a mentor, and I'm an online facilitator. And I'm so happy that you're here with us on this broadcast. I'm just going to check on my Facebook and hoping to see you all here interacting with us. Aha, right. I can already see us on live, and we are in for 1 minute now. And I'm just going to kill that volume so that all I have here now is our comments. Fantastic, fantastic. So LMC Consultancy, we have got 4 specific packages, and we move from one-on-one life coaching, group life coaching, online facilitation like what we're doing here now, whether it's interviews with guests like Victoria Joseph with us today, whether it is advocating for a specific number of people who want to talk about a topic, or whether it's just in a mentorship group or even a chama. This is online facilitation. This is what we do. We also have our 4th service, which is Lady in Waiting series. Now, this one targets preteens and teenage girls, and we empower them. We empower them to gracefully transition into society. We take them through things like social media etiquette. We take them through dining etiquette, social skills. We take them through deportment. All these important things that a young lady needs to know earlier on so that it becomes a way of life. Work etiquette is one of the things that we cover. Well, our next cohort is scheduled to start on the 1st of December. So they will be home from school at that time. If you've got any young girl that you would like to gift this December, have a think about it and bring them over to us. Just direct message me here on the Facebook, and I will be able to get back to you. So moving on, when we are looking at the different aspects of LMC consultancy, I will be not be able to tell you all the truth if I don't say who I am and why am I an expert? Why do I believe I'm an expert? Well, I have been 30 years plus in the hospitality industry. I have worked with people. Specifically, I have worked with women. And they have helped me. They have built me to where I am today. And I, in turn, not knowing that it was life coaching at that time, I helped women climb up onto the rungs of life. I helped them, and it was an exciting experience. And then, as this was going on, COVID came, and as we all know, we all had to rethink our journeys. And when I say rethink our journey, I want to explain that my purpose remained the same. And my purpose was to help build one another. That's why we are here. And we have our season of menopause that we are talking about. We want you to share your story. Come to us and tell us what it is, because it will help somebody else. Never doubt that story of yours could mean something life changing for someone, an aha moment. So I found my purpose was still the same. I had to work on my journey. My potential had gone out of the window because I didn't know where to start. But this gave birth to Awakening Self, which, as you have heard, Awakening Self is a series that helps you get back onto your horse. And that is a journey to yourself and true potential. Definitely something that you want to be part of. I found my voice, I claimed my voice, and I'm on the way to embracing this voice of mine. And therefore, I invite you, ladies, come on, Facebook us with all your messages. Facebook those stories of yours, whether it is on a story. Just come to us and tell us what you're all about. we would like to share your story. You can then become a member of our We Are Connected community where we help to build one another. But enough of that. Today's topic, as we continue on the season of menopause, is amazing. Last week, we looked at nutrition. And we were able to understand how to remain supple and beautiful by the things that we eat. Today, we're going to talk about menopause. You know, it is actually said that menopause is a natural transition. It's like that life of a butterfly in a cocoon. You need to find that place of yours so that you are comfortable in this season because this too shall pass. And you want it to pass and you coming out stronger on the other side. So with me today is Victoria Joseph. She's a counseling psychologist. Victoria is here to share with me and have this discussion with me about how we can manage this mental health. Apart from being a counseling psychologist, Victoria specializes in providing online therapy on various issues, disrupting your capability to fully function. Victoria, welcome.
Thank you, Lucy.
It's so good to have you here, Victoria. Anything specific you want to tell us about your field? Because I'm sure all the ladies watching would like to know a little bit more about your field and how we can get in touch with you.
Okay, Lucy, I'm so delighted to be here and a warm welcome to all the ladies who are joining us this afternoon. Mental health has previously been ignored, especially in Africa. It's been a topic we don't talk about. And
Yes.
hence, that's where I found my passion just to come and be able to talk about mental health issues. It's mental health or mental illness is like any other disease. So there's a need for us to talk openly about it. And that's why this afternoon I'm so delighted to be here and excited so that we can talk about menopause. I'm looking
Yes.
forward to this discussion. Yes.
Yes, definitely. I like what you said. It is very true. Mental health is something we don't talk about a lot. And because we don't talk about it a lot, it becomes a myth. And we need to demystify it that mental health is here with us. It is one of those side effects when it comes to menopause. However, let us just jump right in. Huh? Last week, we defined menopause, and it was about estrogen levels, and it is the drop of estrogen levels. And when that happens, a few things begin to present themselves in our bodies as women. And it is because of this presentation of behavior or our characteristics that it has been perceived as something shameful, negative. So we don't really talk about it. So I'm happy to be here with you so that we can just lend some information to menopause when it comes to mental health. Because at times we feel we are losing it. We talked about foggy brain last week. We talked about forgetting things. And the question then came out, am I losing it? Am I normal? But before we get into there, and we know the three stages of menopause, I just want to ask you, Victoria, in your opinion, where is this woman at when she hits menopause? What is she like? What is her persona? Maybe you could share that with us so that we can start our discussion.
Yes, I think that is a good place to start because okay, I think last week we all got to know that the mean age is 51. At 51 is
Mhm.
when most women start their menopause, but there's a give and take of 5 years, so it can start as early as 45 years. So I think for us, we need to look at where is a woman at let's say from 45 to 51 or 55. Now, this woman is probably taking care of her children are grown, so they're probably they are teenagers. Maybe some of their children, she's already a grandmother. She could be taking care of
Mhm.
her grandchildren. These are women also who are caring for their aging parents. At this point in midlife, perhaps a woman has lost a loved one, maybe parents, a spouse, a child, or probably even a sibling. It is at
Yeah.
that time of midlife also for a woman when they're also struggling to balance work and family. They're at the point if they're in a career, they're employed and they're thinking, do I leave my work? Should I quit? Do I start a business? So there are all those issues going through.
Yes.
When it comes to, yes, when it comes to relationships, maybe their relationships have not worked out. So maybe they're contemplating divorce or they've already been divorced. Those who are still single, maybe they're saying, oh, maybe this is a time I need to get married. I don't want to be alone. And maybe also they're struggling with issues that women go through at that time, maybe with their in-laws. And to sum it up, I think for us Africans, it's also women are struggling with the stigma associated with menopause. You're already at a point where people will be saying, wow, this woman, this is it now. That there's no, it's all doom. So I think that's where a woman is as she gets into menopause. And it's important for us to understand that because there could be multiple sources of stress, not just the stress that is associated with menopause.
Thank you so much. And for those of you who are joining us today, we are looking at the emotional side of menopause. And specifically, we are looking at mental health. And with me today is Victoria Joseph, a counseling psychologist. And we are seeking to understand the what's, the where's, the hows of mental health in menopause. And Victoria has just been taking us through the stages because the question to her was, at what stage in life are we finding this lady at menopause? And she has said to us it could be anywhere between the ages of 45 to 55. She has also agreed that it could be earlier than that. And therefore, just this awareness of mental issues. I mean, Victoria, you've mentioned a word midlife. And when
Yes.
we hear midlife, we think of midlife crises. Midlife crisis. It's an interesting choice
Yes.
of words. Can you just tell us a little bit more about midlife before we just come in and recap the different topics that you have given us under this stage of where a woman is? Midlife.
Yes. I think we look at just the developmental stages of a human being. We'll start right from conception, to childhood, to teenagehood. So, for a woman now, specifically for women, you've gone through all those stages: puberty, your work career. So this is the middle of your life. You're now coming to the part where you're done with childbirth. And then
Mhm.
after that is now that late adulthood. Then the next stage is now that late adulthood. So this is the time when we are saying you're probably done now with the children, with childbearing. You're at actually your mid of your life. And it's not a crisis. It's just a transition of life. That's the way you progress. I think when it's crisis, it's when for men it has been associated with a crisis because they do all sorts of things, but it is not a crisis. It's just simply a transition in life, and this is the
Mhm.
part you're in your life.
Yes, yes. I like that
Yes.
because I got a bit concerned when we are saying midlife because midlife brings over the negative connotation. I like transition. Like I started out in the
Yes.
beginning by saying that menopause can be compared to the butterfly and the cocoon. So it is us coming out of the cocoon into a dynamic menopause and a life post menopause. There's three areas that we looked at last week were perimenopause, menopause, and post menopause. And this is a cycle that we need to go through. This is the season that we need to go through. And just taking us through these mental issues and defining it, I believe is already a great place to start. So, am I losing it? The question that is being asked often. will be more of, wow, I am going through a season right now. Can I look at the positive aspects of the season, which is what we are going to get to? However, just to recap on what you're saying, where is this woman by the time she is menopausal? Where is she in her state of mind? Where is she in her life? And you have pointed out a few things that perhaps she's got grown children or teenagers. Perhaps she's a grandma. Perhaps she is dealing with aging parents. There's even grief. She could have lost a loved one, whether a friend, a sibling, or a spouse. These are areas that she's at. I think there's a lot of sources of what it is that she goes through, a lot of triggers that would make us think that we are losing it, because there's quite a bit. You did touch on relationships, and you said that perhaps this is when she's struggling to just strike a balance. And it's not easy to strike that balance because of all the emotion that she is going through. So, suffice to say that this lady is actually coming at us with a lot of baggage. By the time she's sitting with us and we are looking at her, this persona that we are looking at is a lady who is carrying baggage. What would be your comments to that, Victoria?
Okay, Lucy, I like the way you keep mentioning the butterfly, and it reminds me of this quote by Maya Angelou, and she says, "We all delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but we do not take."
Victoria, I think what you've done is pressed your mute button. I just pressed your mute button. So the question that we were asking, that
About
Victoria
that,
was
I
trying
think
to
I
answer.
lost you for a while, or is it
Oh,
me?
yes, you're back. You were talking about Maya Angelou. You're back. Great to have you back.
Yeah, sorry. I think I disappeared for a while. I was just saying I appreciate the quote by Maya Angelou when she says, "We all delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but we ignore the changes that it has to go through to achieve that beauty."
Yes.
So in the same way, it appears for our women. And I think for me, I want to really share with women about a positive mindset. It all comes to what is your perception when you think, when somebody, or when you realize I'm getting into menopause. What are you thinking? What are the thoughts that come to mind? Because that's where you start. Yes, we've just shared that a woman coming to menopause has so much going already because of where she is at life. Then now you add on to menopause. So I'm so glad we are here so that we can discuss how we can shift our mindset so that we are able to embrace menopause as it comes in. And I think at this time, it maybe would be nice for us to just say, I mean, what is so good about menopause? Everybody's saying you're losing it, you're going crazy. Yeah. And I think, Lucy, first and foremost, I mean, you're done with the budget of pads or tampons. There are no more periods, and that's a good thing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Yes, that is a very good thing. You're done with periods. Now there's no fear of pregnancy. So you can enjoy an intimate relationship without fearing, oh, am I going to get pregnant or not? We know during periods, the way ladies, you're preparing to travel or you have a seminar and you're thinking, oh my God, the periods will be this time. Will I travel? Will I postpone? Those kind of events. Now you don't need to worry about that. Yeah. So those are some positive things. And then it's a time you're done with children. There are no small ones hanging around. So you have time for yourself. You have time to take care of yourself and do the things that you really like to do. Yes. So I think those are that is the moments we should take to take stock of what have you achieved as you get to midlife. And there's so much that you can just look back and say, I thank God for this. And in the worst case scenario, Lucy, what is the alternative to menopause? If you don't want menopause, then what? It is death, because what you're saying, this is something that you have to go through in life. appreciate that we are here. God has given you those years to see this stage in your life. There are many women who are not here. There are many women who never got to see this. So I think there's a lot of good things about this period. And let's discuss how we can change our mind and embrace it well.
Yes, I love that. And I love the fact that you had talked about the transition of life when you were defining midlife, as opposed to it being a
Yeah.
crisis. As I was taking my notes,
Yes.
transition of life. And now you've mentioned the word to embrace. So we are
Yes.
embracing the stage that we are in, and that cocoon stage. So things are happening before we emerge as a butterfly. And I guess the argument is that before I got into that stage, I am perceived to be supple and beautiful because my body, the levels of estrogen in my body are higher than in the time of menopause. I mean, we were advised that we keep on losing percentages of estrogen in our bodies. And as we continue to lose that, we start to see physical behaviors of our skins, of our body, of our bones, and all that is because of reduction of that. And I believe at that time is when we are going into that little silkworm so that we can come out, there it goes again, like a butterfly. But you were talking about positive things, and I'm loving it. You know, it was about looking at dates, the calendar. Every time that you travel, you are
Yes.
already allocating and trying to see what fits where and how, because
Yes.
it affects you. It could be that you have post or pre menstrual stress, that these are things that come to you, you might not be able to manage yourself in a situation, or you've got heavy cramps. Therefore, you've got to work it in between your board meetings, your training, your flights. Can you imagine waiting in an airport for so many hours and you're going through this
Yes.
excruciating pain? So these are things already I'm seeing are positive. I mean, I had forgotten those were the things that we were going through. So definitely a positive side to that. Definitely positive. I mean, I would like to also look at the pregnancy, the fear of pregnancy. You see, now that's out of the window. The counting of the days of the month, that's out of the window. You know, Victoria, it gives me then a sense of freedom. Now that
Yes.
what I did not realize is that I had spent a big part of my life around that kind of timetable. So I guess a positive thing would be, what then can I fill that time up with? Because I don't have to worry anymore. I don't have to manage myself anymore, or the situation around me, the environment anymore. Oh, nature has done it for me. So what else? I'm loving this.
Yes.
So what else is positive with the onset of menopause? I'm loving this, Victoria.
Yes. So we are talking about also, I mean, physical things that are happening in your body. I think like now issues of
Mm-hmm.
fibroids. They say at this time that if there are any fibroids, at that time they have actually shrunk. So yes, it is a time
Mm-hmm.
actually to yes, and then they say also because of if you're in a relationship or you've gotten to understand yourself, you know, you're a point now where you can have quality relationship with your spouse or your partner. If you're alone,
Mm.
it is a time now you're also appreciating yourself. Yes, the levels have gone. There could be a few physical changes, but again,
Yes.
you have matured. You know, you're at a point where you have matured, so you are able to take
Yes.
up things very differently.
Mm, 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 mm.
Yes, yeah. So it is a good time.
What
Yeah.
is being shared here on the Facebook Live. I've got Jane saying, yes, the positive part of it is amazing. Wow, Jane, I wish you could share your story with us on Facebook Live. You clearly have had an experience. Agnes says, wow, I didn't know there's a positive side. Thanks for sharing. Well, look at that, Victoria. Agnes was not aware that there is a
Yeah.
positive side. And you know, this is because of the stigma. it is perceived
Yes.
that menopause is
Yes.
something to be ashamed of, because it's like as if you're no longer going this way, your trajectory now is going down. When actually I say this is the time to have a dynamic lifestyle. And you have shared with us the things that we can look forward to, and already Agnes is loving it. I'm sure now what you mentioned in the beginning, the growth mindset
Yes.
is setting in
Yes.
for Agnes. And by the end of this conversation, Agnes will be sharing some things that she has experienced during menopause.
Lucy, are you there? I'm here.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
here.
Yeah, I think.
My internet connection, I believe, is unstable. I was just asking, what other things can we look forward to? Positive things. Is there something else?
Yes, I think first, before even we go into that, is the first positive thing is being aware.
Mm,
Being aware of these changes that we are going to go through. And I think after this, I'll just mention the emotional changes that women go through during
yes,
menopause. So for me, the
yes.
first thing, and I'm glad for the ladies who are here, and thank you, Lucy, for bringing this topic, because it is important that we understand, information, we say, is power. When we know
Yes.
something, we are ready for it. You
Yes.
remember we are, yeah, like, let's just take, we are here during COVID. The first time we heard about it, we were all so scared and we didn't know what to do. We just shut ourselves in, and there was a lot of fear and anxiety. But
Mm,
progressively, as we have come to know what COVID is, what's the impact and all that, we've embraced it. So we know what we are supposed to do, how to the guidelines, so that we can be able to live positively with it. So in the
mm,
same way for menopause, just the fact that you are aware of the changes that are taking place, both
mm,
physical and
mm,
emotional,
mm,
puts you in a place, in a very good place, that it's like you're ready for it. Bring it on, because you're ready.
mm, mm.
So let's just touch, what are these things that emotionally, what are you going to experience? Of course,
Before we go into there, we will just
yes,
get there in a few minutes. You mentioned
yes,
something which really caught my eye, and that is the shrinking of fibroids.
yes,
Because I guess it never crosses your mind that fibroids can naturally shrink, because fibroids are
yes,
supposed to be growing. And the
yes,
natural or the linear formation is that you now go to see a doctor and you get your fibroids removed. In fact,
mm,
every time that you come across a lady speaking about fibroids, there's a sadness about her.
mm,
Because there's
mm,
something growing within her, and you're worried, is it malignant, is it benign, what is it? And
mm,
fibroids, yes, but still it could be an illness that you're courting in your body. And therefore, when you mention it as something positive, that during menopause, it shrinks, it begins to shrink, and therefore putting you out of any foreseeable danger. However, it's another thing also, and I stand corrected, that when you do have your fibroids and you have your menses, it affects it by ways of increased pain or increased flow, heavy flow, extended
mm,
flows. So, already therein, I just wanted to touch on that, is a great positive, because your body is already managing itself as it transitions, as it moves, from one stage of life to another. Is there anything that you would like to just share with us about our bodies and other things that happen to us that is good for us during this time of menopause, so that we can categorize it as positive? Is there something that you can share with us?
yes. Yeah, Lucy, it's good you've mentioned about that frame. You see, we need to understand. I mean, what is period? What does it mean that you're in menopause? I mean, it's that you've had 12
Yes.
months without your period. Now, what were
Yeah.
periods there for? This is the productive place in your body. So as you approach
Yes.
menopause, you've been releasing eggs every month, and in
Yes.
essence, it's your body's way of preparing for childbirth, for all that. So there's a lot of fertility issues, and there's a lot of growth things that happen within the uterus at that, I mean, for a
Yes.
woman. So what we are
Yes.
saying is that as you approach menopause, this area now is shutting down. So
Mm,
I
mm,
think you can
mm.
put it in your body. There's not much concentration. It's not an area of focus right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
the body
Yes.
the body is dynamic. I think the body knows how to take care of itself. So it's just saying we are
Yes.
shutting that window. No more children. It's not time now to give birth. It's time for other things.
Yes.
And those are not the things we should embrace. And I think why the fibroids shrink is maybe because now there's no more of the hormones there, where there's a lot of, sometimes they compete, like you're here, they compete because of during your fertile periods. So at that time, because of the hormonal changes, there's not much activity there. And I think that's why, I don't understand to be corrected, but I guess that's why we are seeing that level of them shrinking. Now, the other physical issues, of course, we've talked about hair loss, I mean, thinning of hair here and there. We're talking about, you've heard about vaginal dryness. I think you discussed that a bit last week. And
Yes.
there are the
Yes, we
physical
did.
things. Yes, yeah, you discussed that. So, yes, there's a lot going on in your body. There are bodily changes which have been talked a lot for long. And I think for today, that's where we are saying, what about your mental health? What else? That is the physical body. Yeah. People are aware about this is
Yes. Yes.
happening, the bone density, yeah, there's a shrinking
Yeah.
of your bone. Yeah, but I think it's also good that we narrow down to your mental issues. Yeah.
Well, where I was going with that thought process is that when you have all these things that seemed to be an Achilles heel or a thorn in your side, they're now out of the way. You are freed up to fill that space with something positive, and that is a choice that you make. So I would imagine that this would actually increase levels of self confidence because
Yes.
now it is 24/7. I can go anywhere without having to worry. Have I carried in my handbag? Have I not? What date is it? Am I pregnant today? My fibroids, do I need to go and see a gynecologist about it? Those things now have been, for want of a better word, removed. There's no area of focus, like you're saying. And in there
Yes.
now, I have an opportunity to reboot. That's the word I was looking for. I can reboot
Yes.
my life once I concentrate on the positive things. What is it that I can pick and bring into my life? I can do my walks, I can do my exercise now with a renewed vigor. I can, like last week, we talked about nutrition. I can go on an adventure of new foods. It's a mindset, like you said in the beginning. So for me, it's an exciting aspect that we recognize it is a positive time. And thank you so much for obliging me to go on and on about that. But it is because I needed that myth to be burst so that people don't
Yes.
have those limiting beliefs about menopause being something negative in your life. It is a transition, it is a season, it shall come to pass, and therefore we need to know how to embrace, accept it, and make the most of it. So, enough said. I'm not saying anything more about that. You wanted to take us through emotional. Emotional changes, and please, I'll be more specific about my questions so you can guide us. And my questions would
Yes.
be around: what do we need to be aware of? How can we prepare for it? And where can we seek help from? So, what do we need to be aware of, mentally, menopause related? How can we prepare for it? And where can we still seek help from? Because it's coming, eh? It's coming, whether it is in a larger dose for me and less for you, it's coming. And we have our sisterhood. I may be able to help somebody else who's having, a severe level of menopause than I am. So What should we look out for? How do we prepare for it? And where can we seek help?
Thank you, Lucy. And I think as you go along, we'll encourage the people who are there to also share the positive things they've witnessed during their menopause period. Now, whatever we share, both be it physical or
That is true.
emotional.
Ladies, you heard Victoria. So please share your experiences so that we can help build one another. Sorry, Victoria, you're taking us through the
Yes,
emotional
yes.
changes of menopause.
Yes, and also that this emotional changes, even the physical changes, will vary from woman to woman. I think it's important that we be aware not it's not one
Mm-hmm.
size fits all. So different women will go through different things. So don't say,
Yeah.
oh, how come I've not gone through this? Or don't also be scared that you are going to go through all of this. No, it varies with your body. So the first thing, of course, is
Mm-hmm.
the mood swings. We need
Mm-hmm.
to know that our moods are going to change. And that's why I think many women always say, am I going crazy? Am I losing it? This is a natural reaction.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'll find you're very high, you have a happy high, you're very well, you're feeling good. Then the next time, maybe you're even teary, you just feel like crying or you're crying and you're feeling quite low. So that is a normal reaction. Then there's
Yes.
also levels of, yeah, you might find you also become very aggressive and you don't know why, you're just like on edge. You're just dealing with everything with a lot of vigor and you're just being very abrupt about issues. So it is important to be aware of that. Other women become very problem focused. We call them problem
Ah,
focusing, that everything in your life, you're just looking at the problems, and you're just, there's nothing that is working. You're just focusing so much on the things in your life that are not going well, as opposed to the ones
mm,
that are also going well. So again, it's associated with this period of menopause. There's a lot of
yes.
stress. There's a lot of stress and anxiety. As we said earlier, because you're wondering, okay, what's going to happen? The society already says now me, I'm no longer attractive, I'm losing it. So you already start being very anxious. You don't look forward to menopause because of what we've said, the stigma that has been associated with menopause.
Yes.
And then there is the
Yes.
fear, the fear of the unknown. And that's why we are here today, to talk and remove those fears, those stigmas, so that once we are aware of these changes, then we can be able to tackle them. There's a lot of low self-esteem, you just feel I'm not my best. I used to be here, now I'm just here, You feel like you're going downhill and you're right at the bottom. Another emotional change that happens is, of course, you feel that people do not understand you. You don't feel supported. And
Mm-hmm.
especially by your, maybe if you're married, you think your partner, there it strains the relationship. If you are a parent, maybe the relationship with your children, you just feel, you're annoyed with everybody. I mean, sometimes even the cat or the dog, there's nothing, you're not, you're just mad.
Really,
You're just
yes.
feeling, yeah, you're feeling overwhelmed. Yeah. So it's important for us to understand these are possible emotional changes that will come through because of the levels, the hormonal levels are changing. And it's just about how your brain communicates with these different organs of your body. So it is a natural,
Mm,
these are natural reactions, Lucy, that we should be ready for it. So you ask then, how can we prepare then for this? So of course, the first thing is to know your pattern, especially for the mood swings. At what time do I
mm,
feel, low? Is it in the morning? Is it in the evenings or during the day? Monitor your patterns. What are your
mm,
stress levels? What are your stress levels like? You see, because once you're ready, now that you're aware this is likely to happen, then it's good for us to imagine what are these levels like. Now, if you find once you know that, then it's easy to adjust. So maybe you come,
Yes.
yeah, if you're coming home in the evening and you already know towards the evening is when things don't feel right for you, then just get in the house, maybe go take a shower, go rest before you start dealing even with the house help or with your children. Take time off so that you can first unwind before you interact.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
before you interact with anything. Once you've known
Okay.
once you've also known that this is like affecting your relationship, I think it's important to sit down with your significant other, even your children, and explain to them, this is what I'm going through. I'm at this point in my life, and these are the possible changes. So
Yeah.
bear with me, or if you find me going a bit off, just understand. And
Mm.
especially for people who are employed, you could lose your job because of all this, because you've not talked to your boss. They don't know what's going through. But imagine if
Yes.
you share with your boss and they know what's happening, they're likely going to understand, and maybe even the tasks you're dealing with, they can be reevaluated so that you're not feeling stretched or overwhelmed.
Mm.
The other thing is now, like what we are doing here, sharing. Look
Mm.
out for other women who are also going through menopause. Share experiences. And women, we are told we are good at talking about all our issues. So it's a good time also. Just say, Lucy, this is what I'm going. I woke up with sweat. What do you do?
Yes.
For some ladies, they say, I take a shower. Others sleep light. Others, they layer their clothing. Others
Mm.
want silk bed sheets, or they want cotton bed sheets. So I think once you
Mm.
share, then you can
Mm.
get tips on how you can be able to make things bearable for you.
Yes. Yes.
Of
Yes.
course, you've talked a lot about health and nutrition. We cannot, talk enough about that. It all comes down to your body. What is your body like? Are you taking
Mm.
care of your body? Are you eating well? And I think we all know about diet, what to eat, what to avoid. One thing that I've picked is during this time, because of the hormone, it's called cortisol, because of the stress hormone, you find that there could be iron, there's this need for sugar. You want sugary things. So it's a time where women were advised, go down on your sugars at this point, because they'll just make the stress levels also just go up, and you're not sorting anything. Now, some women, when they are feeling overwhelmed and during this period, may resort to bad habits like smoking or excessive drinking. And this is a no-no. Yeah. So if you try to escape into excessive drinking or maybe try smoking, then you're just making your situation worse. And all
Yeah.
these changes, we are talking about, it's not going to work. It's just going to make your life worse. And
Yes.
I think lastly is also, every woman is different. So find out what relaxation techniques work best for you. Some people like dancing. Is it farming? Maybe some people want to go do gardening. Others want to take a drive. Some will try yoga. Maybe you just want to listen to music, or you just want to go for a coffee date with your girlfriend or whoever. Just find out what are the things that make you happy. And this is the time to do it. Are you going to the salon? Are you going for the massage? But above all, look nice and be good. Take care of your body. It's not the time to get rid of those. If you're a makeup person, that's the time. Just no, don't say I don't need lipstick. No, just go take care of your body. Dress well.
Yes.
If
Yes.
your bones have shrunk, wear fitting clothes. This is not the time to just,
Mm.
throw it in the wind and say, after all, who cares? It is all about you, and it is within your control to manage your situation. Yeah, it's
Yes.
up to you. Yes.
Yes. Oh, I'm really
Yeah,
loving
and
that.
then,
There's quite a bit. I mean, there was a third part, but before we get to where can I seek help from, there were
yes,
just
yes.
there was some lovely nuggets of wisdom there that you have shared with us when we are looking at what do we need to be aware of. It can be
Mhm.
very scary for the things that you have shared with us. especially when you have oscillating highs and lows, because then I don't even recognize myself. I mean, 1 minute, from 1 second to another, there's a trigger that has just taken me over the hill. And you've talked about aggressive tendencies or vigorously reacting. And I'm reminded of something that was shared last week, and it really put it into perspective for me. So it was Dr. Anne Borudivat who said to us that when it comes to menopause, it is a reverse puberty. That is what we can look at it as. And she went ahead to describe that we take pains to explain, mentor, walk the young girls into puberty, the things they should expect. So they're quite prepared. On the best day, they're quite prepared to bring on puberty. They've got their emotional highs and lows. The estrogen levels are beginning to increase in their body, and we are helping them with coping mechanisms. But when it comes to menopause, number one, there's nobody who's holding our hand. There's no one who is helping us to transition into menopause. So we go into the fear of the unknown, like you said. And already we've got our own definitions. I'm not yet 50, so I'm not perimenopausal. And yet you could be at 35 easily. If only somebody could hold your hand. But the one that really touched me was the reverse puberty. So here I am as a 50-plus-year-old woman going through all these emotions, oscillating high and low, high and low. And then I've got a teenager in the house who's going into puberty. So can you imagine where we are meeting? We are
Yes.
meeting at a level of loggerheads. We are not understanding one another. And I am the adult in the room. Therefore, I am called upon to be the bigger person. And already, as we describe the persona of this lady who is in midlife, she is already coming with baggage. She has
Yes.
to be able to separate issues, and this cannot be easy. And that is why I was bringing us the next question: where do we get help from? But before we get there, we are hitting heads. And then perhaps you have a significant other, or you have a boss, your work is high intensive. Your work needs you 24/7, and you're going through this reverse puberty. And yes, I like what Agnes is saying. Health is our wealth. We need to take care, embrace, and take food supplements. So yes, food supplements would come in. Maybe your evening primrose would help you. Maybe your black cohosh will help you with the sweats. Maybe you need to up your zinc, like we were being told last week, and your fiber. But the fact is, emotionally, I am in this place, Victoria. And it can be
Yes.
very scary. I hope you will cover that as we're talking about where we can get help from. You then moved
Yes.
on to talk about how can I prepare for it. And I love the discussions. I remember that during my time of menses, I would have myself all over the place. And what I did is exactly what you are suggesting here. I had a discussion with my spouse and a discussion with my children. And I said, this is me during this time. I need you to be my thermometer, for want of a better word. And when you see me going off, be knowing that this could be a possibility. And I would love some empathy, some understanding that you get me at that point, because this is not my nature, and you know me. And I found that these discussions now became so easy. I could be driving
Yeah.
my car, and I mean, if my daughter and my son were listening right now, they would be embarrassed to death. But I could be driving my car, and suddenly I am awash with emotion, or I
Yeah.
get heavy cramps. And I would say something which they would know what it means, and they know mom is going through this, and they cut me some slack, and they try to be on their best behavior because we've had this discussion. So I love what you said. So, ladies, when you're listening, these things actually work. And I like the practical example she's giving. And the sharing with women is what we are doing here. Thank you so much, Victoria. Relaxation. What activity are you going to look at to give you relaxation? because you need to breathe in and breathe out, and you need to exhale. You need to take 5 minutes out. We are transitioning. We're not going to stay here forever. It could be, like we say, 7 to 10 years of a transition, but look at the kind of person you're going to come out at the end. A stronger person, a formidable woman, a dynamic woman, that you will be able to handle situations because you've been through it. Your own body seemed to be working against you, but you were able to manage that situation. So I just wanted to bring all that together so that when you're taking us through where can I seek help from, we can be able to bring our discussion to a close with at least some three takeaways. So where can I seek help from, Victoria?
Okay, before we go to that, I think it's good to remember, like these are transitions. We're saying this is a transition like any other. And let's take pregnancy. From the time you're told you're pregnant, just think back to everything that you did in terms of preparation until the baby comes, even after the baby. So that time we
Yes.
prepare very well. You're on internet throughout, you're getting this, you're talking to your sister, you're talking to your mother, just trying to
Yes.
understand what's going on. You're going for checkups with your gyna, and you really want to understand what is going on at what time and all that. And that helped us as you are going through pregnancy. So the same thing, ladies, during menopause, don't
Yes.
ignore. Just also go for checkups. It's okay to visit your gynecologist. Just
Yes.
go and find out this is where I'm at, so that they can also explain to you what else you're going through. They can do some physical checkups. I know they do some blood tests, maybe to also check on your hormone levels.
Yes.
So it is important to go. Don't think now because you are done with children, now this is just you. And because of this negativity associated with menopause, then you think maybe you don't need to be, you don't need to be checked. So it is good to get, the first place, of course, is for you to go and see your gynecologist. Now, for some women, just like the periods, it can be abnormal. It can be abnormal. There are some women who had periods and the whole period, they can't even go to work. They're actually sick. So
Yes.
for menopause, there might be some cases where it's a bit too much. Everything, all these things we've discussed cannot be managed. And that's the right time to go again to your gynecologist, explain the situations. And I think there's different hormonal therapies that they'll be able to discuss with you. And these
Yes.
solutions. Yeah, there's solutions for that. They might need to put you on medication or some things, but discuss that with your gynecologist. If you feel a bit, it's the changes is just too much for you.
Yes.
Alternatively, also you can, it is also a good time to look for a therapist so that you're able to discuss also your feelings and your thoughts, and they will guide you so that you're able to embrace all these changes we've discussed so that you can have good relations with your family members, with your colleagues in the office, and even with yourself, so that you're able to come to terms with yourself. So the things we are discussing, if you feel you need more help or you need to understand more, it is okay to look for a therapist, yeah, a counselor, so that you can sit and say, listen, this is what I'm feeling, and then they can work with you. If they feel it is a bit, it is a lot that you're going through, then the gynecologist will always be there so that they can be able to do different tests, check on all your body organs, and maybe they can at least rule out any other underlying issues. So there's help available, and nobody should suffer alone. And this is a phase that well, it's a transition that we should go through it normally with these minor changes. Yes, Lucy. Yeah.
A transition. Thank you so much for that. Three takeaways. We are at the top of the hour, and now we need to bid our audience farewell. But just three
Yes.
takeaways. What is it
Yes.
that you would leave us with? Three things that I
Okay.
can already start right away.
Yes, Lucy, number one is your mindset. You need to change your mindset about menopause. Menopause is a transition of life. it is something that is going to happen. You cannot wish it away, and embrace it well. Look for it, be ready for it. Number two,
Yes.
we said menopause is good. There's a lot of good things about menopause, and we have shared
Yeah.
all those. So don't be scared, and this is not the end of your world. This is just a new time. So embrace that very well. And
Yes.
lastly is to say that it's temporary. Menopause is a temporary period. And as you've said, it is going to pass. It's not here to stay. So it's a period we're going through, and it shall pass. Thank you, Lucy. Those are my 3 takeaways.
I'm loving them. I'm just loving them. I mean, it's a newfound freedom. It's just a newfound freedom. My lifestyle changes about me embracing and accepting. I want to enjoy a dynamic menopause. So those 3 takeaways, when we're talking about a mindset, it all starts there, ladies. What do you think? I started off by talking about the limiting beliefs in that menopause negative. And I'm saying to you, it's a transition to come out of that cocoon and come out stronger. But the choice is mine. The choice is mine to believe in something positive. And we can see all the positive things, the impact that Victoria Joseph took us through, amazing things that can happen. And for me as a life coach, I am seeing all the things that are building up on my confidence, helping me to reboot, become that woman who has just transcended, and breaking those ceilings. It starts with confidence. And menopause brings this to me as something positive. Those 3 takeaways: your mindset, look at your achievements so far. Menopause is a good thing, positive mindset, and it is temporary. This too shall pass. Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you so much, Victoria, for joining us and sharing. Menopause comes at a time when we're already carrying emotional baggage. So we already have it at that time, emotional baggage. So, and this compounds the situation. And it is good to know that we are not losing it, ladies, that we have coping mechanisms, ladies. And even here, right here on this specific chat now, on this platform, we are supporting one another just by being here. So see you next week as we continue with the season of menopause. Thank you so much, Victoria. We promise to have another guest with an even inspiring message, just like we have had this week, and we are loving it. So remember to like our page to receive regular updates of these scheduled talks, and let us help to build one another. And ladies, until then, be kind to yourselves. Bye now.